So you want to learn Python, but where do you even start? It can feel, well, pretty overwhelming, right? If that's you, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to cut through all that noise and give you a simple, clear-cut roadmap to one of the world's most useful programming languages. Let's dive in.
Here's the plan for our journey. We've got 5 key stages. We'll start with the absolute essentials, the foundation. Then we'll see how to actually make things with code. After that, we're jumping into Python's real claim to fame, handling data and making it tell a story. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about how you can pick your own path and get started on a real project.
All right, first things first, laying the Python foundation. You know, you can't build a skyscraper on a shaky base, and it's the exact same thing with coding. You gotta get this part right. So let's just ask the question straight up. Are you ready to build something new? Because that's really what this is all about. Learning a language like Python is about giving yourself the power to create. And to build anything cool, you absolutely need to understand the building blocks. In Python, that means getting really comfortable with just a handful of core ideas. I want you to think of these as the actual grammar of Python. Seriously, variables, those are your nouns. Functions, they're your verbs, the action words. And control structures like if statements and loops, they're how you form complex sentences and make decisions. Once you master this grammar, you can pretty much say anything you want in Python. And here's what that grammar actually looks like. It's pretty readable, isn't it? A variable is just a name for a piece of information. A function just wraps up a piece of code you want to use again. And a loop is just, well, it's a way to do something over and over. This is the language you're going to be speaking. Not so scary. Okay, so you've got the grammar down. Now what? Well, now you start writing. You start building things. This is where we move from just learning the rules to actually creating stuff, automating boring tasks, and building real programs. The very first big win you'll probably have is with scripting. Think about all the boring, repetitive things you do on a computer. Renaming 100 files, sorting your downloads folder. A few lines of Python can do that for you in less than a second. For a lot of people, that's the first aha moment where you feel like you have a superpower. Now, what happens when your little scripts start getting bigger and bigger and become complex programs? You need a better way to organize everything. And that's where object-oriented programming, or OOP, comes in. It's just a really clever way of structuring your code to model things in the real world. And here is the absolute best analogy for it. A class is like an architect's blueprint for a house. It defines all the rules. It'll have 4 walls, 1 door, 3 windows. The object is the actual house that you build from that blueprint. And here's the magic part. You can use that one blueprint to build 1,000 different houses, each one a unique object.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about one of the things Python is most famous for: data. In this part, we're going to look at the toolkit you absolutely need to grab messy, chaotic information and whip it into shape.
Your journey into data really starts with a library called NumPy. See, Python on its own is fine with numbers, but NumPy gives it rocket boosters. It's built for high-speed math on huge lists of numbers. It's basically the engine that powers almost all modern data science in Python.
And then there's Pandas. If NumPy is your supercalculator, Pandas is your ultimate smart spreadsheet. You know how real-world data is always a mess, full of typos and missing values? Pandas is designed to take all that chaos and wrestle it into a clean, beautiful, organized table called a data frame. It is the #1 tool for bringing order to data.
And this is what a data frame looks like. Pretty simple, right? It's just a table with rows and columns. But the second your data is in this format, everything changes. You can suddenly ask it questions like, hey, what's the average age? Or show me only the people who live in London. This is where real data analysis begins. So once your data is all clean and tidy in a data frame, the real magic can happen. It's time to make that data talk. This is all about turning boring numbers into charts and graphs that tell a compelling story. Your first stop on this journey is almost always going to be Matplotlib. Think of it as your foundational toolkit. It's like a digital box of graph paper, rulers, and colored pencils. It gives you total control to draw pretty much any kind of chart you can dream up.
And then you've got Seaborn.
If Matplotlib is the box of colored pencils, Seaborn is like a set of professionally designed stencils. It's actually built on top of Matplotlib, but it lets you make incredibly beautiful and complex statistical charts with way less code. It's all about getting great-looking results fast.
And this is what it's all for. A minute ago, this was just a boring table of numbers about restaurant bills. Now, it's a story. You don't have to read a single number to know that the weekend, especially Saturday, is when the big money comes in. Your brain just gets it instantly. That's the power of visualization.
Okay, in our final section, we're putting it all together. You've seen the concepts, you've seen the tools, so how do you actually use all this? Let's talk about choosing a direction and kicking off your very first project.
This right here is the playbook. Honestly, no matter what data project you ever work on, it's probably going to follow these 6 steps. You get the data, you poke around to see what's in it, you clean up the mess, you analyze it, you make a picture, and then you tell people what you found. It's a recipe you can use over and over again.
Feeling fired up but not sure where to start? Just pick one. If you're a beginner, write that script to organize your messy desktop files. If you've got the basics down, grab some real weather data and start analyzing it. Feeling ambitious? Try tackling the stock market. The point is to just start somewhere. If you only remember one single thing from our time together, please let it be this. You can read all the books you want, but the only way you will truly learn Python is by doing, by building things. So start small, get that first project done, and let that win give you the momentum to tackle the next one.
So there you have it. That's the roadmap. From the basic grammar of the language all the way to telling stories with data. You have the map, you know the tools. The only question left is the most fun one of all. What are you going to build first?